welcome to Would You Rather Babadook versus Parasite. Yeah.
30-something CEO of a startup
Mhm.
company was murdered by his personal assistant. And of course, the headline, get way more than they bargained for. Turns out there are like rooms under the stairs.
We have Caroline Sinisa Levine and a guest, Maya Choy. If you like our videos, please subscribe and please check out the other videos on the channel.
Maya, I asked you to be on our show because you love horror movies. I mean, did you always love horror movies?
I actually was terrified of them when I was younger. Something changed when I was maybe in middle school. I started getting really into scary movies, and I actually, in 8th grade, did a huge project on scary movies and why some people like scary movies, why some people don't. But my favorite part of the project was I just filmed a lot of my friends' reactions to scary movies. I haven't really watched a lot recently, unfortunately, besides I think Parasite was the last one that I've seen, just because I'm busy and I feel like life is already scary enough as is.
And I think everybody in the world saw Parasite. Shen Chen and I have come out to the Poconos, so we're in a cabin in the woods.
I could have picked any article today about like the pandemic, right? And the K-shaped recovery and how some people are doing really well and some people aren't doing well. Be careful who you hire, right? This was a story over the summer. A 30-something CEO of a startup company was murdered by his personal assistant. The killing was only solved because someone walked in as he was in the midst of dismembering the body with the idea that he was going to cut the body in small pieces, I guess, and dispose of the pieces in different places. Nothing of the sort happens in Parasite, right? It's basically the underclasses turning on themselves, I feel, on each other. Why did you pick it as a horror movie?
I picked it because the scene where the father, who was living in the basement, coming out from the stairs when the son was eating cake, so that part to me was horrifying.
That illusion of a ghost. And then, of course, now it's the other dad that's kind of stuck in the basement.
And there's something sort of supernatural about that. Like, how could a guy really live down in the basement all those years, right?
Because he gets out sometimes, hence the little kids seeing him. I think that's the thing. I think that's what's so scary is that it is plausible. I mean, I felt like it was perfectly plausible that he would live there and that it would actually be preferable to live there than where, that other family was living, the sewage flood.
With the sewage flood on the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. So that's Parasite. And then let me queue up. Okay. So for the Babadook, the one that I found was this story. I don't know if you saw it, but these American expats who long time live and work in Japan had been looking for a house forever and ever. And of course, the headline, get way more than they bargained for. Turns out there are like rooms under the stairs. There are all these secret belongings, including a box that was moving. And they opened it and there were hundreds of roaches in there. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But
that's pretty terrifying too.
Yeah.
Did they go in the article like why this house was built with all these extra rooms? I mean, what is it about that house?
I think it's an old house that's been in the, someone's family for a long time, and they were just built with storage and things. That's
secret storage.
Yeah.
Secret storage.
For the Babadook.
That's horrifying. That's like truly, that's a nightmare.
What was so scary, Maya, about the Babadook for you?
The scariest part, and also my favorite part, I think, was just the Babadook character being from a children's book. To me, that was like pure creative horror genius.
That's when you'll know he's around. You'll see him if you look.
So love how the story is tied into the mom's her grief with the loss of her husband and the son. I think it's a very moving story as well as a horrifying movie. So it's actually one of my favorite scary movies.
Yeah, and I know,
Yeah.
Bruce, you didn't find it scary, right?
I know a lot of
I
people
did.
who weren't scared by it as well.
Yeah.
Well, I did find it scary, and I agree with Maya. The real amazing part of that movie are the animations of that book. I'm also marveling at the filmmaking. The thing I don't get, and I think it's a Bruce thing, because I've talked to a bunch of other people, men and women. I don't get, is the Babadook real, or is the Babadook her psychosis?
I thought it was pretty obvious that it was real. I mean, Maya, did you think it was real? I thought it was real. And
Really? Okay, I think that's interesting that you brought up the two ideas of it being real or if it just being her psychosis. Because I always thought it was sort of like just a manifestation of her grief about losing her husband, in the way where like people who lose someone very close to them do experience horror in their life after loss. And so that to me was what made it really scary. And I definitely see from your point of view, though, how if it's just, if it's not involved with her grief, it's sort of just a flat scary character out of nowhere.
Yeah, or it's a psychological movie that then is the manifestation of her psychosis and her fear and everything is the Babadook. For me, I don't know.
I don't know. I thought I
missed me.
loved it. I loved it because I thought it was just an old-fashioned scary movie.
Mhm.
And I loved it because she was so sensible. I just remember, like, here's this basically, I mean, yes, it's true. Like, you know, she lost her husband. She's like sad, but she was smart and she was strong. And then there's this really scary thing living in her house. I always have to introduce Florida Man, although
Bring it on.
in this case, it's Florida Woman here. So I have this story, of
Ooh.
course, as I'm looking for the downtrodden. Florida woman accused of hiding body in trash can to collect Social Security benefits. So there's just a lot worse, of course, than hiding someone in the basement.
This is the Florida take. Was she related, I would assume, to said dead body
Yeah,
and
I
wanted
think
to
he
keep
was
collecting?
her, like life partner or something, so that she
With
could
John
get his
Christopher.
Wow.
social security, which I felt like was a little bit closer to Parasite.
Even though you're a woman in Florida, you're not going to be a Florida woman, Caroline.
Anyway,
Parasite is obviously a social structure movie. Does Babadook have any other social overtones that we're missing or haven't talked about, Maya?
well, I mean, it's the single
Okay.
parent, right? She has to go to work. She has to care for her kid. She doesn't have 2 cents to, get like a psychic or someone to clean the house, or a poltergeist lady.
What was that, Chen Chen? Oh, she's asking if you could please subscribe and like this video. Thank you.
Okay, so would you rather, right? What situation? Would you rather Parasite or the Babadook?
Go ahead, Maya.
Yeah.
That's so hard, because it's like, would you rather have someone really living in your house or have like some sort of like apparition in your house? It's, oh, man. I personally think I would rather be in Parasite.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, me, no question. I mean, the Babadook was so scary. And for me, Parasite was like watching an economic textbook unfold. And I was like, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to work really hard and get some Wi-Fi and move out of the sewage infested, classes.
Right. Now, so we're assuming, of course, with Parasite that when we're
can.
choosing the would you rather, that we're the sewage family, right? We're not choosing that you could be the other family, right? You have to be the sewage family, right?
Yeah,
If you're
well,
choosing.
even if you're the other family, right? And so you have some family member that's living in the basement because they can't afford to get their own apartment, I would still rather have that situation, because I feel like.
But you're getting chopped up in the backyard, though.
Yeah, because they brought, I mean, they brought a lot of that stuff, I feel like, on themselves, but it wasn't like a horror movie. Like the Babadook, when you can rip up that book and it comes back to you.
Oh, yeah, because I'm all about Parasite. Basically, what it's going to come down to is I gotta fight some people. Okay, Bruce might not win, but Bruce at least understands that. Bruce is clear on that. The Babadook is a manifestation of my fears. And the way that she gets over it is go down in the basement and confront that shit. And it's still there always with her. Now, I like to think I'm an evolved guy, right? And that I can have confronted my fears and everything like that. But that sort of parallel universe of darkness and confronting my fears sounds much more frightening to me. So yeah, I'm going Parasite. Oh yeah, of course. In both movies, obviously Asian. Parasite, all Asian, all Korean. Any black people anywhere in either movie? I don't think so. Okay.
No, but you could take either movie, and I feel like you could flip it, and you could have an all white Parasite movie. You could have an all black Parasite movie. You could have an like in the same for the Babadook. Like
no, they are
totally
universal.
Yeah.
Universal theme movies. Yeah, absolutely.
Equal opportunity scares.
Any final words for us, Maya?
Definitely two of my favorites, and it was interesting hearing your guys' perspectives on the themes for both of them.